Next up in our pedalboard building series, we're finally going to plan our build for our pedalboard and pick out the right pedalboard for us. My name's Will, this is a Rocket Complex. If you didn't know, a Rocket Complex is a band and we have a brand new single out. It's called Freshen Up. You can check it out in the iCard up there for the music video. This series was helped out by Schmidt Array. You can check out their pedalboards in the links in the description. All right, let's get into it. So why has it taken this many episodes to get to the point where I can finally help you figure out which board you pick for your pedalboard build? Well, the reason is, and I think you can kind of get my ethos from here, you pick out what rig or what you're going to be doing with the board first, rather than picking out the board first and then choosing what you're going to do with it. Your needs as a musician always come first. And also, planning is kind of in my nature. I'm a video producer by trade, so planning for stuff is just the way I go. So how do you pick the right pedal board for your build? Well, let's jump over to the computer and let's have a look at Pedal Playground, and I'll explain more there. This is Pedal Playground. So what you can do is pick out all the pedals that you're going to use in your rig and find the pedal board that's the right size for you. You can even add custom pedal board sizes. So this is a great tool for trialing stuff out and figuring out how big or small a build should be for you. So the first thing that I would do would be to pick out all of your pedals for your build. So you can go through all of the pedals that are in Pedal Playground's library, or you can add your own custom pedal if it's not there. And then what I try and do is I try and have all of the pedals that you need to get to the most often at the front of your pedal board. Also taking into account if you're using any treadle, or like wah, expression pedal kind of pedals, you are going to need to be able to get to them really easily, and you need to know which foot you plan on using them with. Also, keep in mind when you're arranging your pedals, notice where the jacks are on the pedals. See here with this diamond compressor, I know that I've got 3 jacks here, so I can't get this blues driver all the way up close to it because the jacks are going to clash. But here with this blues driver versus this compressor, the jacks are staggered, so I should be okay. You need to know exactly where your jacks are and allow space for where they're going to go. Once you've placed all the pedals that are important for you to get to, try and use the remaining space for all the pedals that aren't as important for you to get to all the time. Especially if you're using a pedal switcher like I tend to do. A lot of your pedals you don't really need to get to all of the time, so most of them can sit at the back of the pedal board. Now you may need a couple goes at this to find your optimum pedal board build, so don't worry if it takes you a few times to get it done. I'd recommend you do all of this building off of pedal board first and then pick out the pedal boards that you kind of are planning and thinking about using, because it's better to have a little bit more space than be really constrained for space if you buy a board that's too small. Some other considerations to think about when you're picking out the board for your build are does it travel well? Does it come with a case? Is it a soft case? Is it a hard case? Do you need a flat pedal board? Do you need an angled pedal board to bring up pedals from the back closer to you? With those angled boards, do you need to store stuff underneath it? And remember that the tiers on the Schmidt Array pedal boards work well if you need to store stuff underneath and on top. Now that I've demoed the ethos behind all of this, let me jump back into Pedal Playground and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing with my board. So on my build here, we have a couple of things. We have the bottom layer on the Schmidt Array and the top tier up here. Now, because the DPC, the Gen 3, is really tall, I can't use the third tier on the board. I have to go on the floor of the board, otherwise the Gen 3 is a bit too tall. And obviously I know that is going to go at the front. The Weeping Demon can kind of sit wherever it's going to go. It's not going to go on the board because it's massive. But it can just sit off to the side for now. Now I need to think about the pedals that I need to see on a regular basis, so the tuner is one of them. I also like seeing my compressor to know that I'm actually getting a good amount of gain reduction on it because it has a full meter. So the pedals that I think I'm going to put underneath are going to be the Vibe Machine and the Ryra Klon. Now I've also got on the Schmidt Array board, I have a IEC cable in at the back, a kettle lead if you like. So I know that I need to kind of put my power supply up here because that's the way that it takes up the least amount of space on my pedal board. So let's put the Klon in place and let's put the Vibe Machine in place over here if it would like to move. Looking at that at the back there, I've got a little bit of space down here to have my compressor and my tuner be side mounted here. Now, because I can't use that third tier on this specific build, I'm going to have to leave some room for cable managing, which I'm going to do between these two mini pedals right here. So I'm going to be running the cables here all the way to the back to the I/O box, all back to the pedals, etc. Cool, now we can look at the top tier. So I know I want to get to the Volante to have a bit of a fun time messing around with all of those tape sounds because it's my new favorite toy. So I'm going to put that up there. And the other one is this Marvel's drive here. This is representing the prototype version of the short stack. So I know that I want to see that as much as possible because hey, if I'm going through all the trouble of making this pedal look really cool, it's something I'm going to be really, really proud of, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about it once I finish up that project. So now we have our build. So we've got the wah off to the side, the top tier on the Schmidt Array, and the bottom tier. Now, just as an aside, you've seen in this series another build I've done on my Schmidt Array 250. This was the first build I did. Now, and the reason I didn't feature that one was I wasn't super proud of it because there was way too much on the board itself, and I couldn't even open the second tier. That seems really, really silly. There were a lot of things that were redundant, a lot of things that I could condense into one thing, and also the choices I made were kind of hard set. Like, I had to use the Keeley DDR that was on there because it had my reverb in it, even if I didn't like the drive as much, which is what it turned out to be. So if you're considering stuff, try not paint yourself into corners like I did, because now with this board, I can change out a couple pedals and I don't have to do a full board rebuild. I also wanted some time to assess if the Schmidt Array was really, really right for me. Yeah, I spent the money on the board, but I really wanted to see if it was the right thing. And it turned out it is. I don't use that many pedals because I get most of my gain from the Countess, and that's fine. But if I was going for a pedal platform amp, I'd definitely need a bigger board. There's no doubt about it. Next, we're gonna have to figure out how all of our pedals are gonna be connected together. We're gonna need our signal path, but that's what we'll get into next time. What board do you use for your pedal board? Let me know in the comments. If you want a deeper dive on any of the subjects covered in this episode, you can check out the description where there'll be a ton of further reading on anything we've gone over today. So hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, a positive rating would be appreciated. You don't know how much that actually helps out the channel. If you're watching this video day and date of when it comes out, why not check out the rest of the playlist of this series up here in the iCards or in the description. Please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell notification icon if you would like to keep up when the next episode in this series comes out. You can check out A Rocket Complex's music on Spotify right now. It's the first link in the description. Thanks again to Schmidt Array Pedalboards for helping us out with this series. Alright guys, I will catch you in the next one. See ya.